I was locked in the beam, facing a mandatory of 1 to 15. Life ain't always really what it seems. That's why it gets taken for granted, and the devil plants the seeds. COVID-19's vaccines is mandatory, similar to the New World Order. Understand the story? Shout out to Nori, cuz we drinking like champs, celebrating life before the death in advance. Thinking of a master plan to take a stand. Black and brown love, cuz the unity's in demand. Shout out to the land of Soreños, Los Califas. Saludos, see you, Dala da Rios, es tarifa. I wanna be free like a bird, spread my wings and fly away. It's a ribbon in the sky, and I'm trying to relate. I seen too many of us die in the coffin we lay. On our way to Harrison Ross is the cost that we pay. I try to pray, but the ways of the world is evil. It's like we in a maze, in the own way of our people. In a regal, dipping down the street, tipping. Listen to them oldies, old English he's sipping. Welcome everyone to Let's Talk About It episode number 3. It's G-Lew. I'm joined by my co-host, my homeboy Big D, keeping it real.
What's going on, everybody? It's the man of the hour, your boy Big D, and welcome back to the G-Lew Show.
Yay. We are here for another spill. It is episode number 3. Wow, number 3 on. It's hard to believe it's already 3, bro. That's crazy.
Moving on. We're moving forward.
Moving on up. We are here. Yeah. What up, everyone? Welcome to the show. We're glad to be here doing it again for part 3, number 3, episode number 3. Me and the homie Big D. Like I said, when we started this show, we wanted to bring two different people, like everything together, two great minds, everything together, and put it all together and make it make sense. You know what I mean? And talk about it. So that's why we came up with the title, really Big D. And so I'll let him go further and let him take over. Go ahead, Big D.
Right. Like G-Lew mentioned, we're right here in the progress of censorship. So you put two minds together, and two minds are better than one. So we just thought we'd just bring this topic up. On it's a everyday lifestyle. Some humans, us humans, some we have standards and we do, as the best to our ability. And then some of us do it less than we're supposed to be doing. So, the main topic today is accountability. Accountability is pretty much, what our daily lives, pretty much when it occurs and how we live our lifestyle. So, I pitched it to G-Lew and I thought, hey, let's bring up some hard topics, and not necessarily hard, but just something that we could relate to, and see, how you guys, mention or feel about the topic, and how you guys are measuring up to your accountability in your daily lifestyle. So, you guys are always welcome to, mention your guys's, your input. Don't be shy. You guys could comment, and leave your guys' definition of your accountability in your lifestyle, how it matters, and how that relates to one another, because that's pretty much how it happens. To tell you the truth.
Right, pretty much, and yeah, like he said, pretty much everything he just said. But moving forward, like tonight, last week, what do we talk about? Leading by example, right?
Right.
We broke down exampleship. That's what it was. Exampleship, leading by example. And I think we got a good perspective of that. We've had DD here to give her a spill on it. We had input from people, and I think we kind of gave the best definition and gave our thoughts on what we thought we could do better to lead by example, because we can't only talk about it, we got to be about it, you know what I mean? And lead by example, you know what I mean? So hopefully we did that, and like I said again, that's why we want people involved as well. If something we're not doing, we need to do better, let us know. Give us your input, feedback, it's all welcome. So that leads us to tonight. What we're going to talk about is accountability. Big D came up with this
topic as well. And I think this is real important and something that needs to be talked about. So we're gonna do it tonight. And again, I'm gonna turn it over to Big D to tell you guys why you felt accountability was a strong topic for tonight.
Right. So I'm going to refer a little bit back to last week's on topic, leading by example. There's some things that I did forget. And as far as like leadership and those who have paved the way for the exampleship, as far as us as humanity going forward. One thing I didn't get credit to is for the people who had led the exampleship, those who were the forefathers of being an example, for instance, Martin Luther King, right? He was one of them.
Right.
I could also say Cesar Chavez, if you look in the Hispanic culture, and, so there was always people that were leading by example. And that's why it was a very important topic, trying to demonstrate, the good ship and the censorship of mentoring those by, leading by, not only by example, but, showing the making the paveway, for the future generation that, besides color and besides, the different narrative that things are taking place, just trying to break the barriers. So, it comes up to leading to this subject, and I think it's pretty cool because everything that we do here has a relationship, it configurates to one week to another. So, like I said, today, if you guys know, like I said, today's topic is accountability. And, I did write some notes, because I think it's very important that I stay in one subject. And because there's so many ways that you could go as far as
glad you did that.
Right.
I'm glad you did it.
Accountability goes at our job. Our accountability goes in our household for sure. Our accountability shows in our lifestyle and so forth. So let me give you a little brief, demonstration or what I came up a little bit as far as, not only reflecting in my life, you guys got to reflect on your life, because everybody has a different source of accountability because there's people that are accountable and then there's people that are not accountable. So here, let me hit you with this real quick. Accountability can only take place after the task is complete, right? So, when you're trying to achieve something, you're accountable, right? For instance, I'll demonstrate how, some people, they go to school. What are they trying to achieve? Actually, it's a goal. So, they have to be accountable to their daily action on how they, how they conduct themselves as far as, let's not get it misunderstood. Accountability and responsibility are two totally different things. One is an action and one is actually occurring. So you're responsible to your daily life and everything, but your action is of being accountable to your finished goals. So, like I said, I use education as one pinpoint, right? So, people who go out there, they're accountable. They signed up, for the school. So now they have to be responsible and accountable for their actions. They got to go fulfill they got to go to their classes. They got to make sure they're on top of their grades. And for the end, for what reason? Because they're trying to obtain something. They're trying to learn. They're trying to pick up a degree. They're trying to better themselves. So that's how we become accountable, because in most scenarios, we're trying to better ourselves, better our lifestyles, better our family, we're trying to have better results. So, during that time of that process, you got to get up, you got to go to school. So there's a lot of people that are full-time students, people are full-time workers, they're just being accountable. They're not looking at disparities. They're not looking at no excuses. They're not looking at no anything that will hinder their life as far as moving forward and progress, because they have a goal that they're trying to achieve. So accountability, and then most likely in most tasks, people fulfill, that obligation, and there's a reward in the end. When you have accountability in your life, there could be rewards in the end of that algorithm. There could be a rewards of that scenario, that task that you're looking for or going forward to. So, for instance, if you're going to school, you go, you have accountability, you have a task in front of you, you achieve it. You get your 4-year degree, you get benefits, you get the job that you want. So, accountability is very important, how humanistics, how we as humans, characterize each other and are responsible actually for one another. So, that's a little brief of indication of how I feel accountability is measured, and it relates to my life,
Right. That was pretty dope, bro. That was a dope synopsis, man. About accountability. And like you said, accountability can go so many different ways, bro. Like like you said, you could be held accountable for work. You could just accountability goes as far as like the definitions you just gave, where certain things have to be accounted for, and it also goes back to really how we were raised up, and even coming from the street perspective, you have to be held accountable for certain things. You know what I mean? And that's where discipline and all these type of things come through. And like if you're part of something or a neighborhood or whatever the case may be, you're held accountable for your actions a lot of times. You know what I
Right.
mean? And that goes. I'm glad we're speaking about this too, because I think accountability is a word that's used too loosely nowadays, and or just not being held to those standards, or used anymore. Like people are not held accountable anymore, really, for a lot of their actions and the things that they do, for whatever reason. You know what I mean? Maybe we see it in different ways where people are, may be famous, and they can get passes for stuff they need to be held accountable for, or stuff that people are just doing even from a low level, like say in the streets where a lot of youngsters or something, they're doing foolishness, or stuff that can get other people, caught up or whatever, and they're not being held accountable for it. You know what I
Right.
mean? And all of this stuff trickles down when someone is not held accountable properly. It create a world of problems, and I think that's why we have a lot of the problems we do have even today. Even like I said again, I don't mean to keep bringing this up, even neighborhood beefs and gangs and all this. Really big wars and feuds are started because maybe one person wasn't held accountable for what they did, bro. You know what I mean? And a whole war started over somebody that wasn't held accountable, man.
Right.
And it carries on.
Right.
So I'm sure you know about that too.
Right.
So I wanted
Absolutely.
to add that.
Yeah. I mean, let's reflect on that, like seeing, what's happening and taking place in our world today, right? You got Russia invading Ukraine. People are saying like, well, that accountability don't reflect us, or you really got to look at the backbone, and you really got to ask that question, really? I mean, it doesn't reflect us, So, these people are being responsible basically for their freedom,
Right.
for their choices, how they're going to be, are they going to be dictated by an iron fist, or are they going to be dictate for freedom? So, accountability goes a long way, because, people are in that part of the world right now, they have to worry about their families, how they're going to eat, how they're going to survive, how they're going to live, and who are the people that are taking the accountability for them? Who are the people that are subjected to being responsible? Like I said, accountability and responsible kind of go hand in hand, but they are different. And we got to always make sure, like you mentioned right now, G-Lew, is like, even in the neighborhood, how it takes place, man. You're always going to be accountable for your own actions, man. If you do something, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime, man. That's just basic. You got
That
to be
part.
accountable for that situation, man. So,
That part.
you are responsible. See, that's the difference between accountability and responsibility. You are responsible for the choices that you make. And then once you put yourself in that situation, now you're accountable for the choices that you make. See, that's a dire situation. Two totally different subjects, but almost the same scenario. And
Facts.
many times, the youth, they're not guided in that area. They just come dumbfounded into the situation, and thinking like, man, okay, I'm responsible for my life, and that's about it. Okay, but you're accountable for not only your life, you're accountable for the other person that's next to you. You're accountable for the neighborhood that you're representing. You're accountable for the drugs that you have in your pocket. You're accountable for the gun you have in your pocket. You're accountable for everything that takes place. So if you get pinched, now you're responsible, for the things that are taking place. And you
Right.
can't go cry to somebody else and say, hey, well, I didn't know this and I didn't know that, and that's how a lot of times people drop the dime, and hey, and they start being you start finding, how they say, snitches and so forth, because those people, they're not accountable for their actions.
Let me ask you this, Big D. Speaking about accountability and even youngsters, and when and how does one know when to be? That's almost goes. I think accountability and responsibility kind of goes hand in hand, especially coming up as a young man, young dude in the streets. However you're coming up, when and where, like, is it or even how does one know, a young man, a young homie coming up or whatever, how to not only be responsible but to be accountable for what he does?
When does that take place? It takes place when you know the dire situation, man, and that's an end. It's like not trying to go besides the homie situation, but it's like growing it's like having sex, man. You're accountable. You get in the relationship, you have intimacy, and there's a big chance that, pregnancy could come forth. And then
Right.
that's where it takes place. Then responsibility comes after that. So
Right. Right.
that's why how they say accountability and responsibility they're kind of the same scenario, but they dire a little bit. So that's how I look. Based on that subject, that's the best way I could describe it. If you get into an intimate situation with a female or a male, know your consequences. Know your responsibility. You get into the neighborhood, you got to make sure you know the consequences first. You got to make sure that's something that you feel that you're going to do for a long time. You got to make sure that you're going to be accountable for every action that you take. And a lot of times the youngsters these days, I ain't saying that they don't know that, because it's hard to get that glesha from homies that
Right.
they come up to you.
That's what I think is lost too. I mean, not to say lost, because it's always been like, but back in the day, it was kind of like more like you said, accountable and responsible. Like even getting into a neighborhood, you knew what you were getting into. You know what I mean? Because you were probably already around it or claim, whatever before you did it. And it's just not like you just go today and get put on. It doesn't happen that way. You know what I mean? But today, more so, that happens more. Like people don't even know, people. You know what I mean? So I think they don't even know how to be accountable or know what they're getting into, really, really. And that's why you have more people snitching now. Just a lot of BS that wouldn't happen before, because there really is no responsibility, accountability, structure, anything. And that all goes back to accountability, whether it comes from your big homie that's supposed to show you, because that's what a big homie is supposed to do, show you different things or whatever as a youngster.
Exactly.
They don't do that anymore.
It seems
there's no real big homies either.
Yeah, it's a tight, because their sense of accountability, the measure is dying out pretty much. It's just like pretty much they're already tired of the scenario, the situation, babysit the next generation. When you kind of feel like, because accountability comes at a young age.
Right.
I always be like I say, I tell everybody, cause and effect, man. People don't act like a certain way because they just grew into that factor. No, it's something that was happening in the household pretty much, whether it was child abuse, alcoholism, drugism, whatever the situation was. That you were accustomed to that situation. So the people that were responsible for you as your upbringing, they pretty much tell you, hey, this is good and bad. You kind of learn about that scenario, but when you hit that certain age and you have that beer or that joint in your hand, and then now that becomes your responsibility. Now you're accountable, and then now we're talking about choices, right? Because, we got E40, he talks about all the time, everybody got choices.
Yeah.
And that's where it comes in censorship, and this is not just in the streets, this is basically in your household, right? A man gets up and he's accountable for his family. So he goes work to provide, a household over his head, provide food in his table, and making sure that he's the head of the household, making sure that the measure of his family is going in the right direction. Now, you got some other people who are less accountable, and that's where like I said, the responsibility comes. Like, hey, man, I wasn't shown this, I didn't have that, so now I'm taking this route, and and it becomes, you become another statistic to society. So it could be good or bad depending on what kind of upbringing it is. And that's what I'm saying. It's very important that us as if you have a family, and especially you have to change your narrative, and right from wrong. You're responsible, and then when and what I mean by that is, you're accountable, basically, man. Basically it's like, man, whatever you do, it's going to apply to you. When anything happens in your family, you're accountable for your actions, basically. And then the responsibility comes at it, and hopefully you're making the right ones.
Hey, and going back to what I said earlier, like you said, everyone is held accountable, but getting the proper guidance and instructions and tools on how to be accounted for and accountable and responsible. Do you again I go back to big homies or whoever is someone in someone's life as an older person or whatever. Do you think they need to be held more accountable too and responsible for how they are showing someone that looks up to them? Because like you said, we could be talking about a big homie from a neighborhood that's not showing the little homie the right way. He just got on or whatever, and he has him go over here and say, for instance, a good example is like we just watched Javier's cartoon, right? If you really look at that, if the script, homie, and really what it was, that's what that was. It was the big homie just really set the little homie up for failure. We're gonna go right here right now, and I don't know how long the little homie was put on or whatever, and on whatever he's done, but it was just the big homie pretty much said, "Let's go over here right now. You're gonna blast this fool." He put the little homie right there, it for that to happen, and now the little homie, he's done. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Do big homies need to be held accountable? Like, a big homie should not be telling a little homie to go do that. I know it's about work and stuff you have to put in, but even how that is structured, I think it needs to be done differently. You know what I mean? Than maybe just doing that to a little homie who may not be ready for that. You know what I mean? Just to show how hard he is, and okay, you got to do this to show me how hard you are, but the homie may not be ready for that. You may have homies that are not. You, as we know, when you come from a neighborhood, you have different type of homies. Every homie is kind of there. You got your dude that's really ready to go and do whatever. You feel me? And you got your other homie that may just be good at this or that, or you know how it goes, homie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's up to the big homies on how to figure that out and guide that, and not lead someone not down the right path, or send someone on a mission that ain't ready for that, bro. And then what happens? They get caught up, and then they probably tell on you anyway.
Right. Yeah. So, it's funny how you mentioned that. It still basically goes back to the family, man. It's just like, if you're going to be rebellious and join the neighborhood, knowing that you have a mom, especially if you have a dad and a mom, you're statistically trying to just avoid that situation and take the accountability to the streets, because you're being
Right.
disobedient, and you don't want none of that responsibility. You don't want to be acquired to, what's going in the household. So, in some subject, you come out and you be on the streets, and then you have, homies that, that don't wither, they're going to just take you on a mission. And like you said,
Right.
it could be your last, it could be your first,
Or
and
your
your last one.
your last all in one, just like that, homie. Depends on how the coin, how it happens, bro. You just pray that shit we get away or with this, or boy, you know how it goes, homie. But that's something that accountability. I think little homie shouldn't be putting that. Well, you already know what you sign up for, though. First and foremost, you should know when you join the gang. But still, I think it should be better structured on how the big homies do things, and things like that shouldn't be done. It should be talked about. It should be figured out first, opposed, than just doing that. Because like I said, that could be all bad for everyone. You know what I mean? And we have to have better guidance in doing things like that, homie. And then I think that structures homies to be like that, puts more structure how it should be, homie. And that's how things get ran. Just like an organization, a company, anything.
Right.
People in companies have people in different positions, homie. Everybody's not going to be the
right.
You know what I mean? So big homies have to know how to structure that, bro.
Yeah. Everybody's accountable for one another. Like we look at it,
Right.
at a corporate scenario, gangs are pretty much in the same structure, but in a different,
different
level, different
exactly.
diet,
Exactly.
So, you look at it at a professional, business, you got people who are managers, you got the CEO, just going hand in hand, and they're showing, they're trusting these people, with the responsibility to show accountability for progress. It's all about making money. So, it goes down and down. Like, so a supervisor has to be over, the co-workers that are there, managers over the supervisor. There's always somebody subject that you're accountable to. You always have to answer to somebody.
Right.
You always have to, in our household, we answer, if you have a good, stable household, we answer to our mothers and our fathers. You get a bad grades, you come, that, hey, what's going on here? You got an F on this grade, in this class, you're accountable for your actions. And this is that's where the responsibility comes in. Say, hey, and you break it down, like, look, this is what's happening. This is the course you're taking, and you need to be more responsible. And also, but it only comes responsible if the action that you're occurring, the action that you're doing, and that's where accountability comes in. So, that's what I'm saying. Accountability, man, it goes a long way, man. It's a humanistic nature. That's the way, we live, and a lot of people, like you said, just right now, man, the way the world is turning right now, people don't want to be accountable, man, and people can't be accountable because of their situation and their circumstances. So, putting a lot of pressure on somebody that don't have or that's trying to come out of a situation, it makes it a lot more, challenging for this person to change and to do better things, amongst their family, amongst their society, so forth, man, to be a productive citizen. So.
Right. Yeah, man. Let's talk about it. Hey, people out there, what do you guys think? I want some input from people out there. What do you guys think about accountability? What do you even think about accountability in your opinion? What is it to you? How do you feel about it? Do you feel people need to be held accountable? Someone anything you want to add to this conversation? We welcome the input, people. You know what I mean? We're talking about accountability now. Who do you know that needs to be held accountable for something right now? I ain't saying put them on blast, but let's talk about it.
Yeah, how about another one, man? Like you said, I'll break it down even a little easier. Who do you think that should be accountable in their family, man? You know,
Ooh.
it's just that's another one. You got to understand, there's other people that are taking action and are accountable. Let's just say like a mother and a father, right? So the let's just say they're alcoholics for whatever situation. They're not paying their bills. They're not providing food. Somebody else is being accountable for that family. So that's why uncle steps in, mother steps in. You got other people who show their genre, their you know, and their acceptance and their understanding to accountability. So, you know, do we actually as human beings understand the word accountability? You know, or
That's a good question.
Or we
That's
just
a good question.
Or we just live by the accountability because it's just a daily life. You know, I get up, I go to work, you know, I pay my bills, and that's it. You know, but you know, you even see people who go to work and they make their money and they're not even accountable when they come home as far as like paying their bills,
Right.
putting food on the table.
Right.
They choose to buy beer. They choose to buy beer, drugs, and these are real cases that's taking place in the home, man. You know, it's just talk about it. You know,
that's real though. That's real right there.
You know? Then we understand. Then we understand why. You know, as you know, children growing up, they have no stability, man. There's a reflection, you know, because they're right away. You know, people say, "Hey, why?" You know, I blame my mom. I blame my dad. They're throwing their accountability, their blame on their parents, you know, basically. And it's kind of sad to say that the parents were not responsible for that scenario to be accountable for the kid to make a better choice and a better action.
That's facts. How does one? Let me see. Parents not taking care of the child. Yeah, that's what I was gonna go to next. When you're talking about accountability for parents, like, do you think like I don't know how to put this because there is no regulation on who can have kids, who you know anybody can get pregnant. But we know this. But do you think it at some point, or it needs to be some structure as to where, like just like when people get married now, or they're supposed to before they get married, they have go to counseling, right, and stuff that they get prepared for.
Right.
I don't think there is none of that, or not really, especially not in the communities where young people can get prepared to be parents, man, to know how to be parents and again know how to be held accountable, because once you have a kid, you know you're responsible. It's a whole different level. We know that.
Yeah,
but like you said, not everybody is fit to do that or even should be, you know. So how do people be held accountable for not being good parents? And when I say not good parents, I don't mean a scale on good, because there is no, depending on situations, and you know what I mean. As long as you love the child and you're doing your best, I don't mean that way, but I mean in a way where you know they're not being held, just like you just spoke on, doing shit that's not responsible for a family, you know, and being held accountable.
Right. Can we say this, G-Lew? I'm reflecting like you know, we're always reflecting on our parents' scenario, right? Let's just say if you grew up in the projects, you know, what kind of ability are you going to show your children? You know, it's like a rare ratio. Like, you know, I say, you know, 1 out of 10 that one kid's going to come out of the projects and be successful and take the responsibility and learn accountability and responsibility depending on the household. But you know, I mean, if the parent, you know, other than that, if they're disclaiming, you know, that they're living in poverty, living from welfare to welfare check, and living by the government system, you're not really teaching your children how to be successful. You're not teaching your kids how to be responsible. You're not teaching your kids how to be, you know what I mean, just be more value to, you know, their accountability in their life. You know, how many of us, you know, growing up are pushing your kids, hey, you need to go to school? How much of us are you pushing your kids, hey, you need to study? How much of us, you know what I mean, are really looking at the factors and the pinpoint, making sure that we want our kids to be better than what we were? You know, and
that goes back to accountability. Some people are not. Some people will use an excuse. Not all. And don't get me wrong. The communities and the projects sometimes breed some of the greatest kids and great parents. You just don't know their situation. But on the flip side, you have those parents in there that just like, and the other excuse would be they don't know, or that's how I was raised. You know, it's just generational, or they. You know, it was the same situation. Nobody was pushing them to do anything, and they didn't care. Sometimes the parents even urged them to go sell drugs or whatever just to help bring money in, you know, whatever. You feel me? And not pushing them to be better.
So that's why I thought that this topic was very important. You know, I mean, we could talk about responsibility all day.
That part, DD.
But
go ahead.
accountability, you know what I mean? That's actions right there, you know? Accountability requires action, you know, excuse me. You know, so, you know, it's just very important that, for the next generation that's out there, if you're a mother, your fathers, I mean, how do you explain that to teen parents? You know, how do you want to bring accountability in their life, but they're not even, adults.
Right.
You know, so who's responsible? There's a lot of times, and I'm a victim of it too, you know what I mean, where you come out and, mom and pops, they're allowing, the relationship to happen, and without really, they have an eye open and then an eye closed at the same time. So, if a daughter gets pregnant, then shoot, man, you're basically they tell you, they tell you, oh, you guys are in a relationship. See, relationship, oh, okay, it's cool, all and dandy, but when when an action is required, like you get pregnant, now relationship goes to the side and accountability steps in.
Right. Right.
So it kind of like withers, man, because and then after, you have situations where the daughter or the boyfriend, they're saying like, well, you guys allowed it. I mean, there's always an excuse after that, then that's how things happen. There's friction, there's conflict, there's disagreements, next thing you know, at a young teenage life, you don't get along with the parents don't like you, they call you a bum, you ain't responsible, you're not, it's a lot of pressure, that's, if you notice, teenage pregnancy is not, that's a big, things that takes place in the United States and all across the world, man, to tell you the truth. Who's
Right.
being accountable for that? Do we teach our children, hey, like you said, you had a good method earlier, how you saying, are we really teaching our children to be responsible and to be accountable? Are we really pushing the narrative of, safe sex? Are we pushing, like teenage pregnancy? You got to educate the people, man. That's where accountability comes in, bro.
Right. Right. And going back to parenting, what do you think because see, parenting can go both ways. Like you said, you can have parents that don't encourage the ones that do better, and then you have the ones that do and really try to be real strict. And then sometimes, when you're real strict, you push the kids away and they run away and do all this type of stuff. So what do you think as a parent? Because we come up in that generation where things kind of changed. We were pretty effed up, and in our generation, and it took, but now we have great men that, fortunately, for a lot for our generation, we learned later, the ones that made it through, you know what I mean? We didn't get life in prison or get killed. We're learning. We have people like you and, me just trying or have a better understanding and knowledge of self and who we are and God and whatever to make us be better men and come through and know better now. So we're trying to do better. We just have to catch up now. You know what I mean? So our generation was kind of messed up, and with us too, a lot of us had kids and weren't probably the best dads early on because we didn't know we were kids and all of this stuff, but we're doing better now. But now I want to speak from a standpoint to say, what do you think as even like our generation and the ones under, how we can be better parents, more so the ones coming under us now, be better parents or how to parent, because parenting is very different than what it was when we came up, even like our parents and stuff. We're like the last generation who had probably parents, that were different. Now parenting is way different. Like you're more at the same level. The parents are younger now. You're kind of more friends with the kid. You see how kids are raised these days. It's very different. You know what I mean? Not to say it's right or wrong. You know what I mean? How does one parent these days?
I mean, they even have the show, man, on MTV, Teenage Pregnancy.
Yeah, like crazy, bro.
We can always reflect back to what we hear on the radio, what's on TV, what the children watch on the phone. So basically, like you said, I'm gonna drop it like this, right? Let's talk about it. I always use myself, as a scenario, right? I'm not gonna, candy code anything, and basically, this is how I do it with my daughter.
Right.
Okay. So basically, I make sure that that my daughter's on her P's and Q's, man. I make sure that she's aware of the situation and be pretty much upfront with her.
Right.
For instance, the accountability, meaning if you want a boyfriend, let me tell you, babe, what can a teenage boy really talk to you about love? Let's be honest, what does he know anything about taking care of you, being responsible, putting a house up for you, not even putting an education there? What is he going to tell you? All he's telling you is something that's going to go through 1 year and out the other. So right. I kind of be upfront with my daughter. I try to show her like, hey, this is the consequences. You need to be responsible for your actions, because if something happens, then you're accountable. And that accountability could be dire because you could bring that situation into our household, and now we're all accountable because you're a young teenage mom, and now dad has to be responsible, mom has to be responsible. So I got to make you think, subside against that objection and make sure that you understand. And that's what's wrong, with these days as parents. We got to let our children to make sure that they understand the consequences.
That part.
You know what I mean? And sometimes it's not going to be, it's not going to be all nice and dandy and dory. I'm going to tell you how it is. It's like telling the next generation, me and you go, G-Lew, right? We talk to the youth and the accountability. The first thing I would tell them, man, if you're going to join a gang, you got to be ready to be dead, or you're going to be ready to go to jail for the rest of your life. Those are the two main things.
First and foremost.
So
that's what's coming.
Anything else after that is a bunch of BS,
Right.
I'm gonna candy cone nothing. This is what you and anything after that, you're gonna be lucky to survive with wounds,
right.
physically and mentally, So that's just showing the next generation to the accountability and the things that could happen, that could take place, letting them know the consequences.
That's a great breakdown too, and I want to add to that too. I think something you just said too, like with your daughter, you talked to her and you said we need to let them know the consequences. And I think period is good for parents, because I think this is what even missed with me. I know with my pops, we kind of had a strained relationship later when in my teens and on, he passed away too. But it's like sometimes you need to really be able to talk to the kid, like talk to them, not at them, but talk to them. And like you said, just really get an understanding, man, because sometimes that's what we really lack and need, and we want, probably, especially from our pops. Moms is different. When we have dads and stuff, that's the part that's missing, that the dads don't know, is that we wanted more information. Like, tell me, the things you went through. I know you went through probably same things I went through or whatever. Tell me how to get through, instead of just telling me this, that, or you feel me? Like, you need to learn information and talk to your kids really and be real with them, not sugarcoat anything, and not just say what either they want to hear or what you want to hear, or talk at them, or just tell them one thing. You need to really talk to them and get an understanding from them, and that's how you'll get a better relationship, and still let them know everything is real, and let them know you're still the parent. You know what I mean? But we can have an open conversations and relationships where you feel comfortable talking to me and asking me about anything. You should be able to be the realest with your kids, so they can learn it from you, and they don't have to go out there and learn it another way. You know what I mean? And they will always respect you for that, whether you know it or not.
Exactly, man. Could have said it any other way. And it's very important, like I said, in all honesty. I mean, let's talk about it, man. Can I keep it real on the G-Lew show?
Come on now, let's keep it real, baby.
I think if I would have had my father, bro, that figure, raising me up in the things of life, showing me the standards and the responsibilities of life, I think I would have had a different lifestyle, Yeah. Even though my dad was raised in gangs, even though, he also took that route, because honestly, I mean, look what happened. It took his life. Right. He wanted to go out hang out with the homies at 19 years old, left my mom there. And his accountability was somewhere else. And next thing you know, he got shot and killed and left me there, to fed to the rest of the growing up for the rest of my life, fending for myself. See, so there's always consequences to your action,
Right.
There's always, something, without you being responsible, but, more set is that, if you're not accountable, and it's hard because nobody even really taught me about accountability, bro, to tell you the truth.
No,
Everybody
didn't
just
learn that.
Everybody felt sorry for me, to tell you the truth, man. They just implement, and they just try to, cover up what was really taking on emotionally, not knowing that later on in life that those actions were actually going to damage me, and actually, not teaching me anything about responsibility. So how in the hell am I going to learn? If I don't know responsibility, how in the hell am I going to know about accountability, bro?
Right. And I think these are things, even in going back to school, homie, like I think all schools, and I don't know how they are now, but I think need to be reprogrammed, and things need to be caught up to 2022, bro. Like, it needs to be classes on, just like we always, even like accountability, responsibility, credit, things of this nature, to get kids prepared for the real world, instead of just the regular old stuff we learn in history and Columbus and all this old stuff. You feel me? We need to really have classes on, things of accountability, responsibility, things to get kids prepared for the real world. And things of that nature, which they don't have in schools, especially inner cities. I think it needs to be different curriculums and understand better schools and better neighborhoods always have better schools and they have better curriculums. But for the inner cities, it needs to be stuff like this, man. And then stuff that people can get into because even the kids are not into those that classic that old history, the stuff they have in school. That's why the kids aren't interested, bro. You have to get them, even though you think they don't want to learn, they don't want to do anything. Sometimes they do, but they have to be interested in what's going on, bro. You know, because they have so much going on around them and clouding them that it is easy for them to be not into their work and all that. But if you have things that interest them, you know, maybe it needs to be, you know, it needs to be changed some things, homie, that you get kids more interested, bro, and wanting to learn about shit, bro. You know what I mean? And definitely needs to be classes taught on certain things like accountability, responsibility, credit, and things to get people ready for the world, bro, because everyone's not going to go to college, bro. You know, have classes on trade and different things, you know, to get kids ready to maybe take a trade or whatever, homie. But
you remember that, G-Lew? Do you remember going up, man? They had wood shop, metal shop.
Yeah, man, they had different, but they don't have none of that no more, bro.
And now it's just
even like home ec, they don't even think they have that. So it's like everything is not
music,
you know,
class.
Music class. Yeah, I remember we had music classes, bro, in elementary, bro. Like we had music classes. Go in there, pick your instrument,
ceramics,
bro, and
ceramics.
all of that, homie.
You know, teach you how to pottery and clay real quick. You know? So, but
what up, Javier? Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy because it still changed the accountability. Like, who's responsible for that? Basically, it's honestly we reflect. See, this is where it goes to. Check it out. It's as far as it's the leaders that are subjected to the city, the state. You know what I mean? The country. You know, we could go back down to this, like, say, man. You know, why is it in the ghetto that, you know what I mean, in the neighborhood that, you know, they have liquor stores now even marijuana dispensaries, but you go to the suburbs, they don't got none of that crap.
None of that. Like they said on every other corner. Yeah. Like, man, we used to hear that. That's real, though. They really do got liquor store. If you go through the neighborhoods, bro, it's a liquor store on every other corner. Sometimes two, bro. You feel me? Two or three, and then it's always a little store, if not a liquor store, a little hood store that they sell just all the, you know, the blunts and, you know, all this shit for the kids that, you know, what they getting into, bro, or beer.
Yeah, who's responsible for that crap, man? You know, like I said, we can only blame the household so long, but sometimes the household's struggling, man, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes the household is there, you know, we're depending on, you know, people to come, you know what I mean, and not to take over the parentship, you know what I mean, but, you know, to subside and relieve the obligation, you know. I remember back in the days there was boys and girls clubs, you know, still today.
Oh, man,
you know, there was even night school after, you know, the night programs where we could go and help out kids a little bit, you know, help out the family a little bit. You know,
even after school, they had programs like there for hours, like you could be after school still and, you know, do different stuff if you wanted. You know, so they don't have any of that. I don't know.
It's a career. It's you know, it's really, these topics are really, you know, withering and like I said, it does fall back still basically to, you know, the parents. But, you know, society got to understand, man, you know, that, you know, some parents, you know, some children that are being raised, you know, hey, some parents that are being raised, it's just a single parent, man. You know, it's usually the mother too. You know, the mothers that are, you know, for whatever 80%. Reason, it's taking away. They don't want to be accountable for the responsibilities, and they, sad to say, they leave the household, man. You know. So then it gives the accountability to, man, shout out to the mothers, man, who take care of the, you know what I mean, they're doing the father figure and the mother figure, man, straight up, man, straight out to women, man, you know, because, you know, like I said, my mom was a single mom, you know what I mean, raised in a situation. I ain't saying she did the best job. I ain't saying me and my mom had the best relationship, but I know that, you know, my mom loved me and she did the best that she can under her circumstances and her situations, knowing that my dad passed away of gang violence. So now when I look why she was struggling back then, it kind of made sense, you know. Right. Kind of it brought a little light bulb, like you said, into my eye. I didn't understand it when I was young, but I understand it why I grew older. And a lot of times while people say, man, you know, it shows, you know, I mean, I try to break that scenario, and I'm trying to break that subject, and, you know, trying to break the curse, man, basically those generation curses, man, you know, trying to move forward. That's why my wife, you know, going to prison, me, myself, you know, being in jail and gang violence, we still have a censorship. You know, we went to school to show my daughter, even if she don't go to school, whatever, like, hey, you know what? It was done because, you know, we're accountable for ourselves. When you do something, when you're accountable, is basically you're talking to yourself, you know, you're being acquired to yourself. It's something that does to yourself, you know. So other people, like, man, you know, even though they don't acknowledge it and they don't see it, like, oh wow, you know, yeah, whatever, but at least you know that you accomplished something to yourself, man. You know, a person should be called on to answer and account for the outcome. That's what that's what it is. You know, you got to be accountable for your outcome in life, man. You know, basically, you know, and to be honest with you, man, accountability has a lot to do with that. And like you said, man, but it's not really being taught in the neighborhood. It is still a struggle in the family home. It's still a struggle in government and politics,
Yeah.
and even as far as leadership, man. So us as
Yeah.
a human race, you know, if we can't really be accountable and understand why, hey, he's black, he's Mexican, and we can't get along, then man, we're screwed. Dog.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's we got a long way to go. And I think the problem is too. Again, while we're having this discussion, the problem is too why we have so much a long way to go because no one wants to be held accountable. Everyone is. It's easier just to blame someone
Hey,
else or put it
hold
on
on.
so or it's nobody's fault. It's not my fault. Nobody takes accountability
Wait,
for their
hey,
own stuff.
we're kind of be accountable right now. We're trying to break those barriers, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know, if people could come on this show and they understand, hey, I'm brown, you're black, and guess what? We're talking about a subject that it's in every household, despite your color, despite your, you know, your difference and stuff like that.
Right.
Everybody has this topic, man, in their household. Accountability, man. So let's cut the BS aside, man, and just really look forward to the positive narrative so we could use and teach the next generation, you know, how to maybe be successful and make changes in their life and to be responsible and accountable for their actions, man.
That's dope. Big D, your mom had accountability. Thanks, Mom. Said your mom did good.
And she did, but actually, I give a lot of props to my thank God for grandparents, man. Not
Oh
only
yeah, all of
mothers,
us got to give it up.
God for
We
my
all, boy,
grandma,
when we came up, definitely grandparents play a big role.
grandparents, man. Where you know, my mom, like I said, after you know my father passed away, she hit a dark place, you know, in a dark area where drugs were involved, you know, men were involved, alcohol was involved. And it took her a long time. Her accountability came when she met the Lord, man, you know, and God got a hold of her. And I thank God for that day. And from that time, she's moved on with that spiritual, you know, that spiritual faith that I think that we should all have because, you know, God demonstrated, you know, what I mean, my personal Lord, you know, those who are, you know, believers, and I don't want to discriminate any faith or religion, you
Right.
know, but, you know, the Bible talks about, you know, mine, and, you know, God took the accountability for the sins of man, because thank God to Adam and Eve, you know, went out and bit the apple. I'm just gonna make it real simple. God came down and say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna change the narrative and I'm gonna be accountable for all man's sin, man, straight out. You know what I mean? But everybody's responsible for your own faith walk, man.
Hey, everyone. Yep. I made a post about that a minute ago. I forgot what I said, but
Yeah,
I
I
like it,
saw it.
whatever.
Hey, I
You're
saw it.
still responsible no matter what. You're still responsible for what you do, no matter how you feel or something like that. You're still responsible, bro. You know what I mean? No matter what you're going through, you mad, you spaz out. Let's talk about it. You still gonna be responsible for that after what you do, homie. No matter how mad you got, whatever you know, we get mad and all it's trip out. You know, like we did when we were younger a lot. But now as we're older, we know it's you know, after that, homie, it's accountability that comes with that, bro. If you spaz out, you bust a went, whatever you do later on, homie, you got to fix it or pay for it or whatever the case may be. So you're still responsible for what you do, no matter how you feel at the moment or whatever you're going through, homie. You still got to be held responsible. So we got to think. That's what we really got to do. We got to think a lot of things thoroughly through. You know what I mean? Think before we act. You know what I mean? And that a lot of times that'll save you a lot of headaches, a lot of BS, maybe a lot of time, and maybe even your life. Go ahead, bro.
I think one good exampleship of accountability is eliminating your distractions, bro.
Ooh, say that one again, bro.
You know, one great exampleship of accountability is eliminating your distractions, man. Because when you have
That's a great
distractions
one.
in your life, there is no way you could be accountable for your actions. You know, that was my, you know, when we're
But is that easier said than done?
yeah, while going back to the streets in the neighborhood, man, you know, I couldn't have no distractions in the hood. You want to know why? Because I got shot already like 3 times, bro. People trying to kill me, man. It could cause you it could cause you death, man. When you playing that kind of accountability, see, different strokes for different folks, man. Depending, see, accountability, your measurements could be, like I said, placed in your home, at your job, at your school, or even in the hood, man. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
every situation and every scenario could cost you your job, your relationships, or even your life and your gang banging, man. You know what I'm saying? So, to the generation, the next generation, you see this, man. Remember that, a good exampleship of accountability, eliminating your distraction, man. In other words, if you're in the neighborhood, man, don't let the highness, the drugs, the beer, the big homies distract you, man, because it could cost you your freedom and it could
At any
cost you
minute.
your life,
Yeah.
man, straight up.
That's a good analogy right there, bro. And it don't, not to be put in a negative light, but like you said, that's a great way to put it. If you're in the neighborhood, if you really gang banging or whatever you're doing to the fullest, you can't have distractions because it can cost you. And a lot of times that's what happens. The homies out there on the block or whatever they're doing, they're getting high and doing all this, and now you slipping. You know what I mean? The cops can pull up on you, enemies, even your own homies could take advantage of you. So it's like you got to be on point at all times, man, and know again what you signed up for. And I don't have to even be in the gangs. We're just using that analogy. But whatever you do, like Big D said at work, you have to be responsible. You have to be on time. You have to, do what's told of you. And these are things we know, of course, if you've been through a lot. But we're talking mainly, I guess, for youngsters because we see a lot of youngsters, even
As adults, man, there's some adults that don't even, upgrade the
we
characteristics.
see it every day, and I got people in my own family and stuff. We see
why the youngsters are having a hard time to
Yeah.
start knowing this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yes.
My bad, dog.
Nah, you're good, bro. Nah, you're good. Go ahead. Those are facts, and this is what we have to talk about, bro. You know what I mean? Again, accountability. Let me ask you this, Big D. As a man, as a husband now, you know what I mean, a grown man, former F up and all that, but you're a man now, seems to be responsible, born again, all of this right here. Accountability for you, Big D. What do you feel you or any other man that claims to be a grown man, husband or whatever, how do they need to be? How does a man, in your own opinion, need to be held accountable? In what way?
I try to now, coming from the, my negative lifestyle, and since I was a child, man, growing up, I try to use, scriptures, man, biblical faith, man, Philippians 4, I forgot what it was, how it says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthened me, man. So even though when I feel, because, when I'm down and out and I don't feel that I could be accountable, that I don't feel that I could be, responsible, I got to cry out to somebody, because I got to answer to somebody, man. And, I'm really hard on myself and how I conduct things and do things. I'm not rich. I'm not poor. I'm grateful. That's how my accountability, that's how I measure my lifestyle, man. I'm really grateful for the things that I do have because, like they say, I may not be where I want to be, but thank God I ain't where I used to be, man. And that's how I hope, these young kids, they can understand and reach out, to somebody, because, it's not just drugs and alcohol. Like I said, there's sexual abuse in the household. There's abuse in the household. And it's sad, man, because, it takes place in every place. And we act like as humans that we're different, Well, he's black, he's Mexican, but we don't understand. We do understand that the same old crap is happening.
Man, everyone deals with the same stuff, man. It's crazy. You would be surprised if you could take a peek in someone else's home.
And
they dealing with the same. I don't care if they Chinese, bro. They dealing with the same stuff, bro, just in different ways.
Hey, man, like I said, when I went to Europe, bro, there's ghettos everywhere you go, man. I couldn't believe it. Homelessness in Europe, this in Europe, that in Europe. And that's what I'm saying. Unless you're exposed to what's really the reality is, and then maybe you can help yourself and make you understand, because it's exampleship and be accountable is an understanding. There's whether it's good or it's bad, I mean, people say like, oh yeah, man, this situation, well, you go to court and, you do something wrong. Let's say you got caught with a gun and the judge is going to tell you straight out, hey, well, you're getting sentenced because why? Because you got caught with a gun. So do you understand? Do you get it? Are you accountable? Yes or no? Your Honor, you got all the facts. I'm guilty, dog.
Hey, that's a trip right there. Hey, the homie right here, just gangster. He just dropped a something right there, right? And he said that he was fortunate enough to have a father which was very strict and tough. Vietnam vet. He did the best he could with what he knew. Taught me accountability and discipline, and that shaped me for life forever. Okay,
Right.
and see just what he said. It shaped him for life and forever, and he's obviously a grown man now and can look back on that and appreciate that.
Right.
Again, I asked you earlier, like, far as parenting, how does one parent, especially in this day and time right here, where parenting is very different from how we were raised, and even like he said, his father was. I'm sure those kind of days are long gone. You know, far as parenting, because it's just let's just keep it real. It's different parenting these days, much younger, different times. You feel me? But again, how does one parent, and do you think? Because like I just said earlier, one can parent two different ways. You know what I mean? One can be hella strict and extra strict, and sometimes that can, you know, run the kids away or make them be disobedient, or if you got a girl, make her be promiscuous, whatever the case. Or you could be less strict and then let your kids kind of do whatever they want to do, and then they do all type of stuff. But like you said, either way, I don't think kids really appreciate it when parents are being strict sometimes, you know.
Right.
But like the homie said, later on in life, you appreciate that. So how does one, when you parent again, balance that? Because a parent don't want to be too strict and think you're running your kids. That's what happens nowadays. Parents don't want to be strict like that. They like, no, no,
That's
no.
true,
You
man.
feel me? But that could hurt in the long run. And sometimes you gotta understand a kid will understand it better later. You know what I mean? Just like
Right.
homie just said. So what do you think about that?
I think, you know, like I said, what I do, like I said, I'm gonna put myself in the front lines first, man. You know, I'm gonna give you scenarios that happen in my household. Is engage with your children, man. You know, that helps out a lot because when they get older, at least they could say that you cared. And that's all that, you know, us children, me, that's all I was looking for, man, growing up. But even though I didn't have a father, I was just looking for people who cared for me, man. You know, and transparency and love, not care for me by buying me this, not care for me by hitting me, smacking me like that. You know, I was just looking for transparency, man. And that's what I'm saying. You know, you can't let the iPhone, you can't let the tablet, the internet raise your children, man. You know, that's not engaging. That's not what helps, you know. I have to go with my daughter and I have to tell her, like, hey, when I see her grades and they're not up to par, we're gonna talk about it. Let's talk about it, you know.
Yeah.
Straight up, like, hey, why is this happening? Why is that?
Right.
Now I have to show her and display where's your accountability at. I'm being responsible by acknowledging to you that where's your accountability at by discussing the situation.
That is key right there, Big D.
A lot
That's
of
key.
parents, like that, a lot of parents, like you said, G-Lew, they just turn the eye, or don't want to deal with it because
They don't
maybe
want to deal with it, or they just be hella like you said, if you come home like back in the days when we were growing up, you know, our parents, it was different. Like even Corey just said, I want to touch on that. Like with parents, like if you did bring home a bad report card, it's just you in trouble, you about to get a whoop, whatever the case. So it's not like they sit down and see, okay, what is going on here? Like, why are you getting these great? Because even like say our mom, whoever, like I know my mom, bro, and not her fault. She worked all the time, and so it's like I never got help with homework and all this type of shit that
yeah,
certain kids do. You feel me? Never,
yeah,
bro. So, but then when you bring home a bad report card, it's like, well, you just about to get in trouble or punished or whatever. It ain't like, why are you getting these bad grades? What's
go
going
ahead,
on?
G-Lew,
You
tap
didn't
that,
talk about it.
G-Lew, tap that thing, swag. There you go, press the button.
Oh yeah.
I got home.
That was it. Yeah, you got that bad grade. You already know what's about to happen. You like, damn. That's why you was like, it was times, bro. I didn't even want to bring my report card home. I'm like, I didn't get it today. Like, where's your report? I didn't get it yet. Like,
You know,
stop it.
this ain't like the good fellas, man. Like, oh, let's go get the mail,
And
man.
I always had bad grades on me.
Nah, bro.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It ain't happening like that. But like I said, it all depends. Like you said too, man. My mom at that time, at that stage, she was carelessness,
Right.
and my grandparents were more of the Chicano style, and they didn't understand about grades. They were not educated, so I got away with certain things, But let me tell you, to be honest with you, my mom would testify. You talk to her, man, that during high school, I had that. I don't know what they call it, the prophilic or something like that. Where in school, like I was like supposed to be with the smart kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? I had that thing where I could just read books, and to this day I could read the Bible, and just understand it right there.
Right.
But, they wanted me to put in those classes, and after I was just like, heck no, man, I ain't going over there with those fools. Those fools are
Right.
geeks. You know what I mean? I ain't
So
hanging
you
around.
didn't want to get looked at as like
Yeah,
that wasn't cool.
So
Yeah.
my mom didn't push the narrative, you know, and she should have had a more make me more accountable for my actions, and she should have been more responsible and furthered me in pushing that narrative so I could go that route. I probably would have learned something a little bit more, but at that time, like I said, I was already at that stage at 12 or 13 years old. Like, man, I already made my choice. I don't like this guy. I don't like my stepfather. I'm about to gangbang and get the hell out of here.
Right, right. What up, Fernie? Yeah, that's so like I said I think the best thing you said, and I think that when we're talking about parenting and whoever, uh it has to be discussion, homie. You gotta, like, with these kids, bro. I think that's the main thing. Conversation that I know parents like like our generation. I don't know. Mostly, it wasn't more so that it was either strict or you either had hella strict parents or you had people you knew who had cool parents. You know, I always want to go with my homeboys. I had cool parents and all that, but it was either way, and either one probably wasn't good. You know what I mean? Because you're either giving your kids too much freedom, they have no discipline and no like that, or you were too strict, like Corey said, and then it runs your kids away. You know what I mean? But I think even with the strictness, we could have understood it. Like now, we can we would probably respect. Look back, say, "Damn, I appreciate that they were strict." But at the time, we don't. You know, kids don't want to hear that and all this, especially depending on what type of kid you have. You know, so I think the main thing what needs to be going on in this conversation, man. Even if you're telling your kids just no, 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 tell them why. If they want to go somewhere and you won't let them go or whatever, don't just say no. You can't go. You can't. Now they're sneaking out the window. Tell them why you don't want them to go. Like, it's a reason why I don't want you to go. I don't think it's safe. And then give them the option to say, you know, well, whatever. Come to some type of understanding. Don't just say no, 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 no. You know what I mean? And then the kids, that's when they run off and all that. So I think it needs to be conversation, bro. Open conversation. Go ahead.
I think the parents, even today, you know, I see it is showing less accountability as far as parenting, bro. You know, we're trusting our kids on what they say.
Oh,
and I'm guilty of that, bro. You know what I mean? When my daughter says, "Oh, I done my homework," okay. But see, the truth comes when her grades come. I get a weekly report, and that's where my daughter does it. You know, she realizes, she knows, you know.
Right.
So it's just like, that's why it's an easy topic, you know what I mean, when it comes to discuss her grades. So that's what I'm saying. We're always discussing. I'm not here to put her down. I'm not here. I have to keep reiterating that, hey, I want the best for you. I love you. You know, it's not that the F or the D's, I'm not disappointed. It's because I know you could do a lot better. So I'm trying to pull the better out of my daughter. I'm trying to show that, hey, you could be more accountable and do better things so you can make better choices and live a better life, you know, because, you know, that's why the Bible says, you know what I mean? Teach your kids in the ways of the Lord, man, and they'll never depart, man. So you're always trying to do good and teach your kids, like, hey, you're always got to teach and be their mentor. And that's what's another thing too, you know, there has to be more mentorships, you know. You see a kid
definitely.
If you see a kid that's out there that's struggling, man, hey, go out there and don't try to be his father, because most of these kids didn't even want a father, you know. But if you be a friend, like my wife will tell you, bro, he's probably looking right now. I got a neighbor upstairs, man, you know. And every time he comes and this kid and like, hey, I'm gonna get a job. I'm like, hey, you know what, good job, Mio. You know, do what you do, you know, make that money, support your mom, do the best you can. He's working. Next thing you know, 5 months later, bro, just that little encouragement, he bought a car. Hey, come check out my car. I go outside, you know what I mean? It's like, man, I'm proud of you. You know, I'm proud of you, Mio. Keep doing good, man. He's working school. He's doing good. You know, he's trying, man. So I have to be his mentor. You know, I'm not his father. I don't even know the kid personally in his ways. I know something that I got to do the right deed. I'm accountable now because God put that little kid in my path. And I wish I had a lot of those when I was growing up, you know, and I didn't, you know, like you said, by that time, the homies got a hold of me.
Like you said, that's important, because that's what a lot of us did not have. And that's how the homies can. That's how the homies can get a hold of you, because you don't have no other. And sometimes you fight it. Like even me, I fought, like not fought, but I didn't immediately. I had plenty of time. I could have been from the neighborhood because the homies were already from there, but I still like, nah, you know what I mean? But eventually, you know, it grabbed me. But like you said, sometimes if you have those certain things, some people, don't have to be your dad, because most times the dad's not whatever. But if you got somebody there that can mentor you and tell you you got this homie right here that you always just go talk to when you go to the store or whatever, you see him and he pulls you to the side, like, hey, won't, tells you some good things, bro. Do this, do that, go this way, not that way. Sometimes those things go a long way. And then go a long way.
Encouragement, bro.
Encouragement.
That's another topic. Let's talk about it. We'll
Yeah,
save that.
we could. Yeah, let's talk about it. Encouragement. That's a good one. But like going back to the parenting thing again, like what Corey just said, I stuck on that because she said that's what I was getting at earlier. Like even my dad was like that, and that's why we at one time, because my mom sent me to go live with my dad because she, but it didn't work because of that. He thought he could just come in and woonty womp, and I'm already the person I am now, bro. 15, 6, whatever it was for that year or two, and it's just like she said, they don't talk to you. It's just like no, because I said no, and that ain't gonna get it, bro. You got to talk to these kids and tell them why you don't want them. Like she said, if he would have did that, I wouldn't end up how I am.
Yeah. Corey makes a big vital point right there. It's true, man. Because no is just a simple word, bro. No.
Right.
Yes. No. But where's the explanation at?
Right.
And not saying that you have to explain your kids, because I grew up like
you don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to do that. But still,
G-Lew, I grew up and say, I don't gotta explain shit.
Right. You don't either. I'm the parent. That's why. But
explain
something though. Give them something though to why is. Look, I'm telling you no. Or even if you gotta spank your kid or whoop them after you do it, hey, tell them, man, I did this. Don't just whoop them and send them like, well, I did this, man, because I'm doing this for a reason.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I love you. But I gotta get you on the right. I gotta do this. Won't you want? You have to explain something to them. Give them some understanding, bro. You know what I mean? Unless they're gonna, they're gonna renegade on you, bro.
Yeah. So like it's like a situation like this, right? So like I said, I keep it real, right? And so I'll use another example. Shout out to my uncle, and he was a good example, shit, man. He showed accountability, right? He had 7 kids, man. Even us, from the neighborhood, we would leave the neighborhood and go to his house. At that time I was partying and stuff like that, but he showed accountability. You want to know how he showed accountability? Because he provided a safe haven. At least 1 or 2 days I was, I knew I could rest, be with family. He was accountable, and not knowing the responsibility that he was, putting out there. But man, I look at my uncle, like I said, he had 7 kids, 1-bedroom apartment, and then he started expanding. His wife started working, the children got older. They bought a house, and, they're pretty much, but they had little bumps on the road, right? My cousin. So this is what I'm trying to get to. So my cousin was very disobedient, like you said, my parents, my uncle and my aunt were always working, So, she was on, she went a little sideways after. And like you said right now, my uncle chased her and showed her the accountability. Hey, if you want to be on the streets and you want to be this, then, the law is going to take care of you. Yeah. And when she got busted, she was looking for a get out of free card. You know what I'm saying?
And what happened?
Uncle had to show her tough love, because my uncle grew up in the neighborhood too. And if you're out of control, let me tell you something. Somebody else is going to be accountable for you. The system.
That's what I tell the youngsters too. You're gonna have to mind some. You're gonna have to answer or somebody. You feel me? You don't want to do it with your parents or no? Okay, when you get behind them walls, bro.
You're gonna run into a big homie.
That deputy, the big homie in there. You're gonna have to answer to somebody.
Yeah. So going, like I said, to narrow it down, my uncle had a tough love and let her go and let her life, fill out, so she could learn, hopefully, the adolescent of what she was doing. Because not that he didn't care. That's why he told her, look, it's not that I didn't take you out of juvenile hall because I didn't care for you. I'm doing it because you were not being accountable and responsible to me. So guess what? The system's going to take care of you. If this is what you want, then go ahead and run that narrative. And now that my uncle did that, so my cousin is successful. She works for the county. I ain't gonna say where she works at, but she comes back. And I was there and I witnessed it one time. We're at the beach hanging. She said, hey, you know what, Dad? Thank you for being that tough love for me, man. Thank you for not letting me go that stray and go out. That's, in other words, I'll use another spiritual aspect. God will always go back, that one out of the 99, bro. You know what I mean? He's a shepherd and we're the sheep, bro. And he'll leave that sheep, those 99 sheep, for that one, bro. And that's the way we should be, man. Doesn't matter if they're our kids or not our kids, man. They need to go out there, and we have to be the example to the next generation. That's the only way it's gonna help, man. That's what, when I was busted, that's all I heard from older homies. Hey, homie, don't come back, man. Yeah, don't come back, bro. Don't come back. You got a family out there, don't come back, man. You got an aunt, abuelita, man. Make sure you take care of them, Make sure you this. The homies that are busted, man, if you really go in there, I wish they will open more programs and let these men speak to the next generation. Tell these guys like, you don't want to come in here, man. You know, it's a waste of time. The death that comes on you every day. Your freedom is lost, period.
Yeah.
You know, you can't just go say, hey, well, I get an hour of rec, you know, like, whoa, okay, you know, man, you know, I that's the thing that keeps me humble now, bro. You know what I mean? It's just like, man, to know that I probably broke every commandment in the Bible, and then I'm still out here. I better be accountable.
Yeah, you have to be, man. Like you said, to just be thankful, bro, because you know, whatever, you know, we've done some stuff, man. That man, we like you said, are lucky to be here, escape. However way we got out of it, we could either be dead or be doing some serious time still, maybe just getting out. But some of the stuff we know we did and got away with. So to be here and not be, you know, respect that and be thankful for making it through, you know what I mean, and still be out here reckless and doing dumb shit or whatever the case may be. That's just crazy, bro. And you know, we have to be, like we said last week, have to be an example, lead by example in some way. And I don't know whatever way that may be. Everyone is different, has a different path, and we're all not perfect. So we're not expected to be perfect, but we have to show some type of class and be some type of example, accountability, you know, in some type of way, man. We have to.
If the car has a flat tire, man, how you expect to go to work or down the block? You gotta be accountable to get it fixed, man.
Right.
You can't run on 3 tires, homie. You know what I mean? That part. 4. You need all cylinders, man, to go forward, man. And like I said, man, I never been to prison, man. I've been to county many times, been to Wayside Supermax right before prison. And that
Wayside is just as bad as prison. You may want to go to prison to get up out of Wayside, boy.
Exactly. But just that alone showed me the accountability and the responsibility, and even showed me a little bit more before that, saying like, hey, bro, if you keep up doing what you're doing, I'm gonna ask you 2 things: whether you don't get caught or be responsible, be ready for the consequences, man. You know, because for every action, there's a consequence to it.
Consequence.
Man. Straight up.
Definitely.
You know?
That's the best. Yeah, that's the best thing too. You could tell to a youngster or anybody that think, you know, again, you getting away with anything. It's receipts for everything. Just like you go to the store and they give you, that's why they do that, bro. It's the same way in life, or things you just don't see or don't know. And that's why things happen the way you don't understand them, bro. It's receipts and consequences and reactions for everything you do. Whatever action you do, it's a reaction or a consequence for it, or it's a receipt for it. You just may not know it or may not see it. You may think you got away with this, or did some scandalous stuff over here, or something you know that wasn't right, and then you think you just got away. No, it's a receipt for that, bro. You just ain't it ain't hit the account. It ain't hit your account yet. You know, sometimes it's a delay on your account, bro, when you make a purchase or do something, like it ain't showed up yet. It's coming, bro. It just ain't showed up yet. It's gonna show up.
Every receipt, my boy, dog, has a transaction, bro.
That part, that one right there. That one right there. That one right there, bro.
Receipt has a transaction, so whatever you put out, be expecting that transaction, man.
That part,
you know. And if you have the proper accountability, you'll be all right. You know, you'll be
exactly.
Right. Exactly. You know, the next generation, man. Accountability doesn't mean it. Please don't take it in the wrong way, man. You know, it's not. You know, accountability, there's rewards towards it, man. You know, there's definitely positive rewards if you're accountable for your own actions. People always say the same quote: be accountable for your actions, man. You know what I mean? Be accountable for your actions, right? Because there's rewards, you know, besides that, you know, and there could be consequences. So depending you as a person, you know, you can make life easy, or you can make life
make it hard. Just like I'm tripping on my boy I'm aquatic amigo. I don't know if I say her aquatic. I don't know if it's aquatic or aquatic. Amigo. Say my mom would tell me to go get the branch. Hey, I remember them. Go get the branch off the tree. You would try to get the skinniest one on, boy. Hey, that was bad when you were a kid, when you knew you was about to get your whoop. It was like mom was so cold. Tell you to go get the. Hey man, wow.
Press it, G-Lew, press it.
Ooh. Wait, I'm sorry. No. Oh my God, man.
Oh man, bro.
Boy.
If you live with grandma, you get the grandma.
Oh wait, and then if you had siblings, like you would get to see your other brother before you got it, but everyone's gonna get it. Oh my God, some got it worse. Oh my God.
Your account.
You're accountable for it. Oh my God! One more time.
Woo.
Okay.
Oh my God, that is so funny. there, man. Let's talk
Yeah,
about
that was
it, man.
funny. Now let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about it. That was
Keeping
funny.
it real right here tonight. You know, but
Oh
yeah,
man.
just
Mm, mm, mm.
it's crazy, man. You know, like I said, how you show accountability is be responsible, man. Basically, bro. You know, just
Yeah,
be
pretty much. Bottom line, end
yeah,
of the day, how you be held accountable is just be responsible, man. Just try at your best to be responsible on the moves you make. You know, think before you speak. You know what I mean? Think before you act. Try to put prayer. I don't like to go there. We don't know but try to put prayer in your life. You know what I mean? Whoever you pray to, put some prayer in your life.
that's essential, bro. You gotta put
That's
prayer.
essential, man. I don't want to say it in a way to offend anyone, but hey, bro, I'm keeping it real. Put some prayer in your life. Prayer changes things, man.
Pray
You
to the
know, I'm
tree,
telling
man.
you, bro. I'm telling
The
you,
sky.
bro.
I pray to God, bro. You know,
Yeah,
the
for
one
sure.
and
I
only.
do. That's what I do. But you know, I don't know whoever you guys pray to. God is the best. I was the best choice for me. I would tell you. But whatever you do, man, I'm telling you, prayer changes things, man. Try it.
Yes. More prayer, more power, man. You know, and that's where it says, you know, referring back to the Bible, you know, it talks about accountability, responsible. It talks about all that, man. That Bible is not going to change or candy coat anything, man. And a lot of people these
That's the
days,
realest book you can read. Everything in
that's
there, boy, relates to something. You just may think you're reading a Bible. Just I'm reading
oh,
about
okay. So
this and that. That Bible is the realest book you can ever read. Everything in there is like real. It could be broken down in street terms. Once you read some of those chapters, you'd be like, wow.
everything. Hey, the God demonstrates accountability. I'm gonna tell you, this is going worldwide, man. Okay, it's going for the whole world,
Big
man. You
firm.
listen to this.
Right.
God demonstrates in the Bible accountability by the 10 Commandments, bro.
Mm.
You know, thou shalt
Let's
not
talk about
kill.
it.
That thou shalt not kill. That's being accountable. That thou shalt not steal. So for you people who are willing, you guys want to learn about God and stuff like that, the 10 Commandments say everything, man. You know what you should not do and what you should do. The last commandment shows love thy neighbor as you love Christ, man.
Hey, you know what? I was having this debate. I don't know if it was with you. Who was it?
Talk
Isaac
about
or
it. Talk
someone.
about it. Let's
Let's
talk
talk
about
about it. Since you mentioned those commandments, I forgot who I was talking to it about, but just briefly, I wanted to.
it. Was
I
it
was
DD? What's
curious.
up, DD? How you doing, girl?
What up,
DD.
DD?
Shout out
But
to DD. You
when we're
know,
talking about the commandments, like you say, we're not supposed to break any of them. But when you break down these commandments, do you think, because all of them are sins or whatever, but some are greater than others? Like when you say I should not kill, I mean that we know that's at the top of the list. Like that's the biggest, you know, killing someone, murdering. That's heavy, bro. But
and
opposed to just maybe telling a lie, a small lie,
yeah.
you feel me? But they're put in the same category.
Well,
How?
let me tell you,
Let's talk about it.
okay, so if thou shalt not kill and thou shalt not steal, that's why God is not a judgment God, bro. You know what I mean? He don't differ one or another. It's not like, hey, well, G-Lew did more than this. So
Yeah, but still, that's in God's eyes. But if you
when I
get,
go to heaven,
say for instance, you go murder someone, you can get life for 100 years, opposed to you just stole a piece
but
of bread, you're gonna get 30 days. But
everything's out of
in the commandments, it's under the same law.
exactly. So God sees everything the same, bro. You know what I mean? A sin is a sin. You know, I can't judge my wife saying like, oh, well, she cusses and I don't. You know what I mean? That's being hypocritical. God is standard, bro. He's firm about one thing. If you're not supposed to do one thing, then you're not supposed to do the other. That's like our telling our kids, like, okay, well, you could get an A, but you can't get a B. You know what I mean? So
Right,
it's still the same thing. You know, it's all equal ground. God is all about equal. So in other words, you shouldn't be doing any of them at all, bro.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? But God, to tell you the truth, the commandments to me personally are meant to be broken, bro, because God already knew that, you know what I mean, that sin was going to come abound and that these are just little implements and rules to show us like, hey, don't do this. Don't because you know what? Whatever you do, you're accountable for your action. Let's talk about it. You're accountable for your actions. If you go steal, you're gonna get in trouble. If you go kill, you're gonna go to jail. If you're gonna thou should not commit adultery, you're gonna go cheat on your wife. It's accountable, bro. They're all the same. See, so every measurement and every punishment is almost the same. So that's what I'm saying. It's equally bad. It doesn't matter what, oh well, I just stole, but that guy killed. It's the same thing, God. Believe it or not, God sees everything equally. That's why He's a loving God, bro, because He loves the same and He disciplines the same, bro. He don't change. You know, he ain't gonna change His narrative, man. You know, if you're doing bad, you're doing bad. what adult doesn't see it like that? Okay, well, you're doing bad a little bit, so that's acceptable. No, bro,
Right,
you know,
right.
you're doing bad, you're doing bad, bro. Just straight
Yeah,
up.
okay, that's a good breakdown. Let me add to that. I'm playing advocate. I ain't gonna say devil's
Yeah,
advocate. I'm
just
just
talk about
advocate. I
it.
ain't saying no devil, but
Acceptable,
yeah,
acceptable, bro.
right. Say for instance, you got a cat that says, "Just man, I ain't no bad dude, bro. I ain't like no killer. I don't sell dope. I don't pimp. I don't play. I don't do none of that, homie. But I over here, I may do a little something here and there, or want, but it ain't nothing major, bro, to be ridiculed and all that. So I think I'm a good guy, man. What is bad about me, and, or these commandments, or even with God, bro? I need God, but I don't think I want to go all the way because I'm not really a bad guy. I don't think I'm a sinner like that.
Hey,
What do you tell that guy? You feel me? Let's talk about it.
that's how it is, bro. You know what I mean?
Just like my boy Fernie said, I've been told I might
I'm
need
gonna make you
Jesus, but I think I'm good.
I'm gonna make you accountable, people. Good doesn't get into heaven, dogs.
Good ain't gonna get you to heaven. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
You're good, then the
Let's
other
talk
guy
about it.
does not mean you're gonna get to heaven.
Quay the Camille say, "What's
There's
truly
there's
yours?"
there's 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 accountability in the things of God, bro. You know, that's what I'm saying. That's why we're here. We need one way that demonstrates that God
Stop it,
looks
Corey. I didn't tell him myself. Go
one,
ahead, bro.
one thing that God, the way He looks at you, is being accountable for your brother, bro, for other
Right,
human beings. You know, for the
right,
next person. That's what God looks at. He look at the heart. He's not doing like, well, I didn't do this and I didn't do that. So that
right.
guy over there, you know, it doesn't mean you're gonna get good. Doesn't get into heaven, bro. You know, straight out. You know, it's accountability that will get you into heaven, bro. You know, knowing your standards and the rules and the regulations, big dog. You
Ooh,
know,
Corey said, "Look, oh, that's cover your ass." My bad. He said, "What if you kill?" I don't know why I put that on you, Corey. Hey, what if you kill a guy? First, let me say this because Big D just broke that down, and we only spoke about that because he said God is a forgiving God. So even if you kill someone, I was just breaking it down in the sense that what the law will do to you, you can get 100 years and all that, but you kill
that's
somebody for whatever reason,
what
God is a
God.
forgive. You can repent and ask for forgiveness, and you will be forgiven. That's facts,
Cool.
right? But I'm just said that to say this before I answer this question. What if a guy kills a guy that's trying to kill a little kid, meaning that he had it coming, and we all have those people, even in jail, whoever, that will have no problem killing a pedophile or you feel me?
Yeah,
Yeah, any day, and feel that they're all to the right. So what do you say to that,
they're still
Big D?
accountable, bro.
You're still accountable.
They're still accountable. You can't think, you can't change. You know, what I mean, good and bad, bro. It's still accountability, man. You know, we're not supposed to justify. That's why we have a court system, right? Don't we have a court system for that reason and that purpose? And when we start taking things in our own hands, we often find out that people are getting in trouble, even they're doing the right thing. In the United States, we still have a court system. You know, innocent until proven guilty, bro.
Or
You know,
guilty until proven innocent. Shoot.
yeah.
Hey, but okay, look.
I'm just saying, dog. You know what I'm saying? Just saying,
Right.
dog.
How about Corey
And
said,
trust me,
okay,
I'm not for the bad guys. So please, world. You know what I mean?
right.
I'm not for the bad guys. I'm not for evil. I'm just saying when we start taking, you know, killing a man is probably like they say like, oh man, that's probably the most dire sin. But not forgiving a man is another dire. You know what I mean? That's the hard thing, bro. So you
Ooh.
gotta be accountable on each hand.
Ooh. And that's some things people do not do. Like I know people like personally that do not forgive people, hold grudges, and trust me, I understand to a point, but like you said, sometimes they don't know that hinders them or hurts them more when they're really holding up, because sometimes if you just talk to someone and they really don't like someone, and like you say, they don't forgive them, if you could just talk, you just bring up that person and or talk about it, and they're really getting hot and fuming at the mouth, and so that means that person has some control over you, man, and that's where the forgiveness comes, because look, you don't even have to deal with that person no more, but forgive it, let it out your system. But
Yeah.
Corey said, if he's a forgiving God, why wouldn't you go to heaven? So she doesn't. Okay, like we just said, from what if you ask for okay. Okay, let me break this down then. Let me even ask you this, Big D. Let's talk about it. Like,
Talk
say
about
for
it.
instance,
Talk about
Corey
it. Let's
said,
talk about it.
if
You
he's
want
a
to be
forgiving God,
accountable,
why
man.
did you go
You
to
want to be
why
accountable.
wouldn't you go to heaven? But look, Corey, if you ask God for forgiveness, whether you killed a man, whatever the case, like I said, the law will deal with you. You can get the death penalty, you can get life in prison. But if you ask forgiveness for God, you know, really sincerely, and He will forgive you.
Right.
But let me play advocate again, not devil's advocate, but advocate. Like the homie said, how depending on how you kill someone. Say for instance, you got a chomo or a pedophile that kills somebody, but he and see those I bring that up because those are different people. What I've really learned, these people are really, some of these dudes are really sick. But say for instance, they use that excuse, and I don't want to say the excuse because I don't know what relationship or whatever they go through with God, but say they did that in that type of form where it was malicious or hate or like really, like a dude killed a kid or whatever, and he asked for forgiveness. Some people don't want to agree with, like, what do you feel about that part
Well, that's
when
that's a
people
that's
want to bring God into the equation like that?
that's pretty easy to say, because none of us are God. So we're unforgiving humans anyways, bro. We go based on emotions. We're good and bad. No, ain't nobody
Right,
perfect.
right.
That's what it says. Nobody's perfect in this world, man. And in the end, if that guy repents, transparency and is really being transparent to God, like Tupac says, who are we to judge? Eh? You know,
Right.
despite the situations, despite the outcome, despite the who I always reflect back. That's what I'm saying. Go back to the Bible. There's greatest stories right there, man. The thief that when God was getting ready to go to heaven, he was being crucified on the cross. You remember those two thieves that were up on the top, right? There was a thief that was persecuting God, and he was saying like, "Hey, if you're so much the Son of God, you know what I mean? That's like everybody I was saying, why if God did this, why didn't he do this? Why did Jesus do this? If you're so much the Son of God, he tells them, then why are we here? Take us away from this pain and this misery, and let's get on from here. And then the other thief said, "Hey, this guy didn't even do a darn thing, man, and he told him, "Hey, bro, if you're really God, and I have faith that you are, make sure you take me with you." And then the Jesus response to the other guy said, "Today we will enter paradise together, man," right? Because it's the sincerity of the heart. That's where a lot of people are failing to realize that the heart, man. It's like a lot of people come with jewelry, nice things, and this and that, money and this and that, but their heart is freaking cruel, bro.
Oh
You know,
yeah, yeah,
it's
definitely,
always the one
definitely.
that has nothing, that's willing to give and change and change from their ways, that has the whole heart because they're being honest, bro. And a lot of times people are not being accountable and they're not being honest, bro.
Yeah, that's factual. That's factual. Let me ask. Let me hold on. Let me ask the people in the chat. Like, I see a couple people. Like, and this goes for not only
Play
people in
oldie.
the
Let's
chat.
play
Like, a
oldie.
lot of people, right, will say,
Oldie though.
I'm not religious," or they may say, "I don't want to be religious for these type of reasons. It's too many. Sometimes it's politics in religion. You know what I
I'm
mean?
not
Or
religious.
people, depending on who they serve. Look, but say somebody that's not religious or whatever, they're just on the outside looking in, and they can see all of this stuff going on, like 50 different religions. This person is Muslim. This person is Buddhist. This person is Christian. This is Catholic. A lot of people were raised Catholic, and you got a lot of people that were raised Christian. A lot of them are confused. I even heard a lot of people that were raised Catholic convert over later to Christianity because they figured the Catholic, that's something different,
Right.
Uh, um, so it's like then you have just some people that just say, like Corey just said, I'm not religious at all. Or the homie said, what do he say? Um, that's why I ain't religious, because you see everyone can see it like they want. A lot of people just feel it's a lot of politics. So what would
Right.
you say to those people? And I want to ask even the people that just like say Corey, say I'm not religious at all. You're not religious, but do you still quote unquote believe in God? Though, do you believe in anything? Some people will say I'm not I believe in God, but I'm not religious.
Right. Right.
So it's a lot of different very it's the word I'm looking for.
Right. So
To
so
this thing here, man. What do you think about that, Big D?
right. Well, for me, like I said, I'm always gonna put myself in the shoe, bro. So people can understand just my mythology and my belief. My thinking. Me personally, me either. I'm not religious either, to tell you the truth.
Mhm.
I believe I have a relationship, and relationships
Right.
are important. I honestly believe that when I get on my knees and I'm crying out to God, that He hears me and that He understands me and that He acknowledges me, that He's not bashful me. He's not putting me down. He's not God. I believe that God loves me where I'm at, and that's where it is, and that's a relationship. You got to remember, if you read the Bible, Jesus people, the religious people, put him on the cross, his own people. They were taken away because they couldn't believe that, basically, in real simplicity, that he was a son of God. Now, to come and tell you, like everybody else, like, hey, well, you could do this and worship God this way. You honestly can. You know, it's a choice, bro. You know, you have to be accountable and be responsible how to find your salvation and your belief in God. And if you feel like, hey, you don't need to go to church, or you don't need to read the Bible, you don't need to do this, and you don't need that, that's on you. That's your accountability. But let me tell you something, man. The God that came today showed us and demonstrated that, you know, we're supposed to love one another, be kind to one another. It's biblical, not hate towards one another. So see, that God right there that I serve is demonstrating goodness. He brings the good news, you know. He's telling us, he's giving us basic instructions before leaving earth, how to be towards one another, whether your color is different, whether your faith, your job, you're this, you're that. That's the God relationship I have, you know. And other people take this Jesus or this other mythology, the biblical, they have a different perspective because they're just reading it. You know, that's all they're doing. You know, they're not really applying it to your life. When you start being accountable and applying things into your life, you see a different result and a different relationship in any manner, bro.
Hey, let me say this, because I see say, like, again, I'm just trying to touch the people. We're talking about it, and I see some people in here, and I want to talk about it really, but touch the people that I feel, you know, or really get some understanding. Like, say again, Corey right there, say I don't believe in a higher power, and I have my personal reasons. And me personally, I don't know her personal reasons, but hearing her story and things of that nature, I could probably see some reasons why she would think, you know, she has some issues, like things that she probably wants answers from and don't have the proper answers. You know, we heard her story, so I'm not gonna get into that. I don't know her reasons per se, but I'm just guessing. You know, and some people, yeah, and some people feel strongly maybe of things of that nature and say, why? You know, why me and this? So they don't believe for those reasons. I still can't speak for her, and I can't, you know, whatever the case, that's between her and God or whatever. But what do you say? And I would even like to ask Corey. That's why I wish I could. We didn't speak on that, but you know, what would you say to that? Like, people who feel that way, you know, for whatever. Again, I don't know the reason, but I could guess maybe, but that have their own reasons.
Well, you know what I mean? Like I said, if you go back and you read the Bible says he's a gentle spirit. He's a gentle person. So you have that obligation whether to believe in him or not believe in him, you know? And those who are in the middle still thinking this and that, let me tell you this, in the things of life, there is no middle, right? It's whether you do or you don't. Let's just keep it simple. Let's just keep it real right there. So the same way life is, whether there is no middle. It's whether you're yes or no. That's the same thing with God. It's whether you're yes or no. There's no in between. There's no this. Now, that's why I'm saying God sent his son Jesus, you know, for God so loved the world that he gave. If you really read, he gave his son, you know, so he's sharing a relationship. He's being accountable on the things that he's doing. Like, hey, I gave you my son. Since Corey is there, maybe she can relate. If she has kids, she knows, right? If you give up somebody to go, you're going to give birth a child to go sacrifice for all the sins of the world. It's unimaginable. It's unaccountable. You're like, it's unthinkable. And that's what God demonstrated. He demonstrated because there's one thing that this world is missing, and it's very accountable. The word is love, bro. You know, because love real. Breaks the multiple of sins, bro. You know what I mean? Love conquers everything. You could be mad at somebody. If you demonstrate love, they're going to react two ways, where they're going to hate you more, or they're going to be like, you know what? I'm sorry, dude. You know, everything that is biblical is demonstration, bro. You know how
you know, and I think too, like what I trip on, and go quickly. I want to speak again quickly on Corey. She's, you know, she said she was raised Catholic and been to churches, and none of them had an impact on her. And what I've learned too, Corey, me personally, I was at one point or another when I was younger, raised in the church too, briefly, and all these things. And like what I've learned too is that, yeah, none of that stuff impacts us in the way it needs to. But I don't think anymore it's about church or pastors, because we found a lot of that is faulty. You got to have your own relation. What you learn best is have your own relationship with God, and you know, don't even worry about no church or none of that, or no man, period, because man is just a man, and they, you know.
Yeah, before you get to God, I mean, before you get to the Bible, before you get to church, build that relationship, man. That's where it's at, you know, build that relationship first. And, you know, it's crazy because people say like, well, what's the relationship? You know, God demonstrated, you know, God demonstrates, you know what I mean, the relationship, you know. You talk to him like somebody that's there. Like, how many times have we been in situations? I know I have, bro, where I'm always going to die in the streets. I'm like, oh, God, get me out of this one, please. Oh, Lord, we're always talking to God. Why do we call on God? when we're situated where life and death is really determination. Instead of calling on God as when we don't have to encounter the worst of it, everything's a relationship. We can't use God like a genie, bro. I've done that many of years. Like, oh God, help me on this one. Oh God, give me some money. Oh God, and let me tell you, he did come through, bro. So that's why my faith, the Bible, the spirituality, Christianity, talking about faith, because God provided a situation that I didn't think that was going to happen, and it built something in me. He built a relationship. It's a dire matter. That's something that, like they say, you could walk on water. Believe that you could walk on water, dude. Straight up, man. If you believe in everything else, believe everything that the Bible has set forth you, because God brings the good news. He does bring nothing bad. But people, just like I said, they get judgmental because we talk about the Bible talks about the beginning, the middle, and the end. Yeah. So that's why it's controversial, bro.
And you know what I find a trip too, like even again, the homie right here said, I respect all people's belief systems, but I struggle with religion. I do try to make an effort to understand the complexity of it. Many gods of different religions. Okay, right. So it's like, I think a lot of times too, the problem is why you'll find people don't believe in God or say, they're cool because, like you said, they can't, or maybe they've been missed so many things they see and or whatever they've heard to make it feel like, or preachers or Catholic priests that make you feel like, man, that ain't it. But like I said, again, it goes back again to personal. Don't worry about it, man. But accountability. But the thing I find a trip though, I think too, because sometimes we think when people don't believe in God or whatever, that they're just maybe okay, so they believe in the devil or they're bad people. What I'm finding too is a lot of people, it goes back to maybe just information or understanding or how they want to relate to it or see it. Just like the homie right here, Gangster, he's a good dude. He even, he's not Corey is a great human being, a loving lady. My homeboy Javier, not even to bring him up, and Corey even said, I didn't mean to turn this into religion. This is not. We're just talking about it. We're talking about everything, but not even to bring up my homeboy Javier, right? He clearly says he's an atheist or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But if you didn't know that about Javier, he's the most loving. He's probably one of the ones you would think would just be like a Christian or because he's a loving. He's one of those people that just, you don't even cuss or anything really. But on top of that, he don't believe in God. So it's like, you know what I mean? So you feel me? You feel where I'm going with it? It's let's talk about it.
Yeah. No, man. Like I said, incredible Javier, big shout out, man. Like he demonstrates a lot of faith, and that's what the Bible talks about. But just because that he says he's atheist, maybe he realized that maybe he don't have that relationship. That's what it's coming down to, because he don't want to know that relationship. That's what it is. Just like anything else, A lot of people, I don't want that relationship with that person. I don't want a relationship that, doesn't mean they're bad people, you know. But not in story, not knowing that all good deeds that he's doing is it's a replica of what Jesus would do for all humankind, man. Demonstrating and sacrificing what he does for his children and his wife, and the difficulty his challenges are. Man, he sometimes, like I said, by listening to his story, he encourages me without even knowing. So God's going to use him anyways, even though you don't even believe in God, But by demonstrating him, like the things that he does, he helps me, like man, I ain't saying that, he's in a worse situation, but I'm blessed not to be, God gives things to people that he knows what they can handle. God will never give you something that you can't handle, straight out, and that's why, respect to all faith, God says, hey, come as you are, man. Doesn't, like a lot of times I see Cricket the other day, he's at church, but I don't want to go inside because the way I look, he was in a quick live. It's like,
bro, for real, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, and in my mind, I'm thinking like, Cricket, man, just come as you are, man. Come as you are. That's what I'm saying. God demonstrates, if you really look, not just the Christianity, but the things of God. It says there's a lot of ways that where people should be, their characteristics on goodness, man. But I hate to say it, where there's good, there's evil.
Oh yeah.
And that's just the way. And that goes down to tell you, who do you want to serve? What? There's a devil and there's a God. Let's just be honest. What you can't decode it. You can't say there's a higher energy, there's a power, there's this, or to me, no disrespect to those who do believe in that, but then there's more than just a higher power, because with a higher power comes authority, and there's authority somewhere, because somewhere around the line we were created, and I really don't believe in evolution. and I sure don't believe in UFOs, bro. You know, I rather you
Right.
tell me, I rather demonstrate, like say, hey, God made me from the dust, and women were created by a man's image by the rib. That sounds more simple to me. You know, that just works for me.
Right. And I'm tripping on these comments. So yeah,
Talk about it.
let's talk about it.
Accountability. Accountability.
Accountability is the topic. So man, and I think we talked about it tonight. So let's get ready. We can summarize it. Come to a conclusion. I know we can go all night. You know what I mean? And it's just, but I can see it's going in a lot of different directions now. We don't want to get too political. We don't want to get too religious because we can't. That's a fight. And that's something I always tell people. It's hard to have those discussions, whether it be those two, what I just said, political stuff or religions. When you're, it's good to talk about, but we have to have some grounds on how we're speaking about it. I know that's not the topic. The topic is accountability, all of that, shape, form, or fashion. One has to be held accountable for whatever they do, whatever your get down is, however you do it. We're all grown men and women, and we have to be held accountable. And we have people that look up to us, that we have to lead. Some of us are parents, some of us are uncles, aunts, big cousins, big homies, whatever the case may be. We all are held accountable, and you have people under you that are going to be held accountable, and you're going to be held accountable for them one way or another. Just like we talked about last week, people are role models or whatever they don't want to be. Everyone has to be held accountable. You know what I mean? Period. Point blank. So I just want to say that before we take it to the next level and get ready to come to a conclusion on this topic for the evening, man. Let's sum it up, D.
Basically, like I said, man, there's still hope, in this generation and for the next one, man. So, I hope we could take this to consideration, man, and just trying to implement responsibility, and not only responsibility, accountability, straight out, whether it's for your family, your friends, your coworkers, the little boy next door, the little girl, mentorship, spirituality, that's why a lot of people are asking on the spiritual subject, because it has to do with accountability. So, that's good. Why spirituality, religion, it holds you that standard, like where you at spiritually.
Let's talk about it.
That's where it's at, That's where it's at. So you got to find your own destiny, your own path. You have to, and it's, it's a good thing, man. I come and I'm pretty sure me and G-Lew, I could speak for him on this. We come and we bring the good news. We don't come and we don't bring nothing negative. We don't bring nothing wrong. We're not too much of this kind of show, too much of that kind of show. Basically, what God brings, and like I say, is balance.
And let's talk about it again. Not to cut you off, Big D. Let's talk about it as a title. So that's why we engage. And I was asking people what they thought and all that, because it ain't about just what we're saying. And we hold the key. Like it's all about this platform right here. We're talking about it is want everyone involved. So we want open discussion. We want people to talk about it, and we could all talk about it as a group.
Exactly.
And try to come up with some better solutions of just some understanding, because no one person is right about everything, and no one person is wrong. We all have opinions. That's why we're all different people. You know what I mean? So we should be able to talk. That's the problem now. People can't talk about things or be held accountable. So we don't talk about it, and people just gossip or say some stuff that ain't true, whatever the case, and we never get anywhere. We need to talk about it.
Right.
Go ahead, bro.
But like I said, man, basically, and that's what this panel and the show and how, we're working together. Just we're trying to not only show accountability amongst one another, but for everybody else, man. Be accountable for whatever situation you're at work. Being a parent. Bring if you're somebody at church. Anything, man. Accountability goes on every measure, on every lifestyle, every day-to-day life. So. Like I said, man, I learned a lot today myself. The topic that I just brought up, and I just thought I just share it, with you guys, and hold me accountable. Basically straight up. Hold G-Lew accountable, man. And like I said, we want
hold me accountable.
Yeah, like we're saying, like hopefully we could get some more feedback. We want you guys to participate.
I want people involved. Look here. I want people involved. Let us know. Give us some feedback. Hit up Big D in his inbox or whatever. Hit me up. And we want people on the show you feel someone we need to bring somebody on that could talk about some things that are important and we could bring to the table and have an open discussion with the panel, that's what we invite. We want everyone on here. Let's talk about it. You know what I
Let's
mean?
talk about it.
Let's
That's
talk
basically
about it. Everybody don't got to agree. We can all agree to disagree, but we're
right.
all gonna come to some type of. We're gonna have understanding. Nobody's gonna be disrespectful. None of that. We're gonna make it make
Conclusion,
sense.
like you said it perfect. No conclusion, just an understanding, man. Straight up, man. So with that being said, hopefully you guys
Fernie with the sauce. That's my boy. Let's talk about it, Fernie. We're gonna get Fernie on here one night. That's a player right there. I need a real hey Fernie, we gonna get you on here one night, man. I need a real one's perspective, Big Fern.
and
You
like I
got the
said,
sauce, big dog.
yeah, and
Go ahead.
like I said, man, it's totally different from other YouTube channels. This is kind of what my YouTube channel brings. Brings light into to some dark areas, bro. There's
Right.
some dark areas that are right there, and people don't want to talk about it. But on this channel, what I mean, we are going to talk about it. Let's talk about it. In my channel, I do talk about it. So basically, we're not trying to copy everybody else's algorithm or what direction. We're unique. We're divine. And like we want transparency and we want your participation, man, because me and G-Lew don't always have the answers, but we're trying to find the answers, for the next
That part. We don't even have them. We're just trying to give out
we're just for the next generation, man,
that
being
part.
better role models and better, better father figures, brother figures, anything that we can to help, man. I ain't saying I'm perfect. I know my co-host right here, he's not perfect. But you know what? We work together and look what it is. He's black. I'm Mexican. What does that tell you?
Right.
Come on. You guys can't see the accountability there.
Right.
You guys are missing the whole subject.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So man, another one. This is episode 3, man. It's only gonna get better. It's only gonna get greater later. You know what I mean? We want input,
participation.
Yeah, that part. And we got a lot of more stories to tell. We got some people. We got some big things in the works. And even in a couple weeks, me and Big D got some surprises. We're gonna go. We got some big things we're working on too, as well. So just stick with us. We're in early stages of this program here. Let's talk about it. But we plan to talk about some things, homie. And we plan to bring some people on here. We want to open up
and like and subscribe, man, and share
that
this.
part.
Send the algorithm. We're talking about positive stuff over here on this side and on my channel, man. So
that part.
Like I said,
follow my homeboy Big D, keeping it real. He's always on there every day. He's hiking, and he's inspiring. We're gonna bring a lot of things. We're gonna bring some awareness. We're gonna bring some fitness. We're gonna talk about some fitness. My homie be in the gym. I be in the gym. We want to talk about fitness. Healthiness. Health is wealth. We want to talk about how we need to get a little bit more healthier. We can all do better at that. So
summer's coming,
we're gonna talk about a lot of things, man. Yeah, summer's coming, man. Let's talk about it. How we trying to look out here in the summertime, man. Let's talk about it.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like I said,
let's program. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. So like I said, you can find me on Big D Keeping It Real. You can follow me on Instagram, Keeping It Real RF. And like I said, slowly but surely, I'm doing it the hard way, man. I'm grinding. I'm not using anybody else's support, anybody's platform, algorithm. This right here is a relationship that me and G-Lew have. So that's different. Don't get it twisted, So, but I appreciate all those that are out there. Couple shout outs, G-Lew. You want to get some shout outs?
Hey, man, I want to shout out to everyone who tuned in tonight, everyone that follows us and rocks with us, everyone from other platforms, from whoever. I think we all make each other better and stronger. So whatever other platforms, I support all my brothers' platforms, man. Incredible Javier's, the Cholos, the Sunnies, the American Cholo, Tony Ye, Kev Mack. All my brothers that's out here doing something with their platforms in some type of positive way. I respect it. I appreciate you, all the people who rock with us. Like I said, man, every week, whether it's 1, whether it's 200, man, we appreciate your love and support. And we just want to keep getting better, man. So I just give a shout out to everyone, man,
appreciate
out
you
there.
Guys.
Yeah,
appreciate you, men and women, your teenagers, young and old, man. Thank you guys for coming on. Appreciate it. And if you, like I said, if you guys like what we say, like what's coming on, just keep rocking with us and
hit the like button if you like something.
Yeah, get those likes and share the thing. It's not how you start, it's how you finish, right?
That part. It's a marathon. Rest in peace, Neighborhood Nip, man. We love you. Go ahead, bro.
All right, man. So with that being said, man, thank you guys once again. Big shout out to West Carson TV, West Coast Graffiti, like you said, Cholo Trucker, MOD Entertainment, and Drunken Chef, and like I said, everybody else that's always out there, LA Times, and all you guys who
CYA.
we're CYA Entertainment. Big shout out to Spencer. You know, you got to follow the Love Machine and everybody else that's out there, man, doing their thing. And like I said, this platform, you know, it's a branch of many other platforms that we just mentioned. So, you know, if we ain't on, I advise you guys and encourage you to go check their channels out, you know, to give us love and support, man. And with that being said, you know, we'll see you next week.
We out of here. Thank y'all for the love and support.
Keep it real.
Let's talk about it, y'all. We'll see y'all next week. Same time, same place. I'll see you guys on Friday. We got an interview coming up. Peace and love, y'all. We out of here. Have a great week. Peace.